All right, let's jump straight into it. Welcome, 8th graders, to today's explainer lesson. I am so pumped to be your guide today because we're taking on a really serious mission. We live in a world that is literally overflowing with mixed messages, social media posts, and fast-traveling rumors. So, you are stepping into the role of truth seekers. Today, we're mastering the Truth Seeker's Guide, evaluating credibility and bias. We are going to sharpen those investigative skills so you can navigate the internet and the world with wisdom and really sharp discernment.
Seriously, think about this for a second. When you read something online, how do you actually know if it's true? We live in this incredible age where literally anyone with a smartphone can post a blog, record a video, or write an article. And within seconds, boom, it's out there for the whole world to see. But listen, just because anyone can post something absolutely does not make it accurate. So how do you separate what is real from what is completely made up? Well, that's exactly the puzzle we're solving today.
You know, everything we do as learners actually comes back to one foundational idea. Proverbs 12:17 says, "An honest witness tells the truth, but a false witness tells lies." Being an honest witness isn't just about refusing to tell a lie yourself, right? It actually requires us to actively, diligently seek out the truth in what we read and share. If we just blindly repeat something false because we didn't bother to check it, we aren't being the honest witnesses God calls us to be.
Okay, here's our game plan for the lesson. We'll start with number 1, why the truth matters. Then, number 2, checking for true credibility. Number 3, detecting the bias trap. Number 4, building a balanced perspective. And finally, number 5, we'll wrap up with the godly learner philosophy.
Let's dive right into our first section, why the truth matters.
Evaluating your sources is not just some boring hoop you have to jump through to avoid a bad grade on a school project. I mean, it definitely helps with that for sure, but it really comes down to a simple equation. Solid facts hold way more weight than empty rumors. If you learn how to evaluate information properly, you actually get to make decisions based on reality instead of gossip. This impacts every single subject you study: history, science, health. If you use unreliable sources, it totally weakens your arguments. But more importantly, in the real world, your personal life choices depend on you knowing how to find the actual facts. Which brings us to Section 2, checking for true credibility. Time to open up our investigative toolkit. The absolute first tool you need is the ability to spot credibility. Credibility basically just means trustworthiness. When you look at an article, you have to ask yourself, does this author actually know what they're talking about? And just as importantly, do they have the hard evidence to back it up? Because true experts don't just say, hey, take my word for it. They provide solid, verifiable evidence.
So how do we actually check for that? You just follow a quick 3-step checklist. Step 1. Check the author's expertise. Are they a doctor writing about health or just a random celebrity? Step 2. Check the publication date. Stuff like science and health change incredibly fast. A credible article from 1995 might be completely outdated today. Checking the date makes sure the info is still relevant. And Step 3. Check the reputation. Does this website have a history of printing the truth? Or are they known for making up wild stories just to get clicks?
Now, we need to shift gears and look at the more deceptive side of the internet in Section 3. Detecting the bias trap. You see, not all sources are going to tell you the full truth. Bias happens when a source unfairly favors one side over another. And what makes bias so super tricky is that they might not even outright lie to you. Instead, they manipulate the facts by just leaving out really important information to persuade you to take their side. They aren't giving you the whole picture. They're pushing a specific agenda. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine a massive fast food company writing a long, detailed article about healthy eating. Do you honestly think they're going to tell you the complete, objective truth about the dangers of eating greasy fries every single day? Probably not, right? Their hidden motivation, which is selling more fast food, completely ruins their objectivity. They're biased. Let's contrast 2 examples here to really make this clear. First, consider a medical article from the CDC. This is a credible, expert source because public health is literally their entire mandated job. Now, contrast that with a blog post about climate change published by an oil company. That source is highly biased because the company financially benefits from pushing a certain opinion about fossil fuels. They are heavily invested in one side of the story. So, if bias is everywhere, how do we find the truth? That's Section 4, building a balanced perspective. As an 8th grade researcher, your goal is not to just find one article that perfectly agrees with what you already think and then call it a day. Nope. Great researchers use multiple credible sources to get the entire picture. They actively compare different perspectives because, honestly, the real truth is very often found right there in the middle, somewhere between the loud extremes.
Let's break down what that actually looks like. Imagine you're writing a balanced research paper. You might start with government statistics. That gives you the credible, hard data. Then you read interviews with environmental activists to understand their urgent concerns. But you don't stop there. You balance that out with interviews from industry leaders to understand the economic realities. By combining that reliable data with differing viewpoints, you build a really powerful, truthful, and balanced argument.
All right, truth seekers, here is your homework challenge. I want you to put these new investigative skills to work right away. Number 1, name one website that is credible for school research and explain why. Number 2, name one website that might have bias and explain why. Number 3, why is checking the publication date so absolutely crucial? Number 4, give me an example of a totally biased statement. And number 5, how can you balance sources with different viewpoints? I want you to dig in and really show me your detective work on this.
Let's transition from our academic skills into the core spiritual reason why we even learn this stuff. Section 5, The Godly Learner, Philosophy.
Here at HeroesMart Academy, we intertwine biblical morality with education, because education without morality can actually hurt. Think about it. If you're incredibly smart but you have zero moral compass, you can easily use that intelligence for the wrong things. Knowledge and intelligence should help you make wise, God-honoring choices, rather than simply make you more capable. We don't just want you to be smart, we want you to be wise. The Apostle Paul writes in Romans 8:6-7, "For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace." As you pursue academic excellence, I really want to encourage you to intentionally keep your mind centered on God, on truth, on wisdom, and on righteous choices with the information you're consuming every single day.
So I want to leave you with one final, incredibly important question. As you go out into the internet today, clicking on articles and watching videos, ask yourself this: will you use your knowledge simply to be more capable, or will you use it to make wise, God-honoring choices? Take that challenge with you today, 8th graders. Stay curious, stay diligent, and always, always seek the truth.